speed on what's happening in Tokyo, about 3.5 hours to the north of us. In the games of the 32nd Olympiad, Guam's own Jagger Stevens, St. John's grad, was second in the second heat of the men's 100-meter freestyle in the pool. The last time Guam actually won a heat in swimming, our friend Shuang Gumatao tells us, was in the 96 games when another St. John's grad, Derek Bollinger. Yeah, right. Derek Bollinger, his father actually set my wrist when I broke it.
Wow.
And we've also got another St. John's grad in the KUM News Zoom room. Very proud knight, Superintendent Jon Fernandez. But Guam has a connection to the silver medal now.
That's right.
Because Team USA took silver in softball.
So we now have 2 medals. So Team USA took silver in softball, and then Bubba Nichols is on Team USA, and her family is from Guam, right?
And she was here a couple years ago, I believe.
Yeah.
And it was actually her first time coming to Guam. And I think she was hosting like a softball
training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yep. So we have the one from the Philippines.
Yep.
Because the coach is from Guam.
Lives on Guam.
And then we have one from Team USA softball. I hope they don't mind us claiming these medals. I hope it's okay. Let's head into the KUM News Zoom room where Superintendent of Education Jon Fernandez is standing by. Good morning, John.
Oh, unmute.
Yeah, sorry. It's still that adjustment whether I'm going online or in person. I find that it's still an adjustment. And I guess that's how it's going to be this year as we try to go in person now instead of going on to virtual. So just as we're mastering Zoom, now it's time to go back to real life interaction in the classroom and at the school. So hopefully it won't be that much of an adjustment. We are 15 days out from the start of the school year. I don't say that just to add pressure to myself and all of the team involved in getting schools ready. But we are preparing ourselves to be ready to go on August 12th. And obviously, up until the very day that we open for classes, there are a lot of things that need to get done and lined up and, confirmed and put in place. And that's what's going to be occupying, our time for the next couple of weeks. So again, a lot of action behind the scenes to make sure schools are ready, working with our partners at DPW. And again, we're looking forward to the first day of classes. But a lot of work still needs to get done, and we're working hard to make sure it happens. It's a very important year, and we're looking forward to having kids back in school and getting back to in-person teaching and learning. So for those, I know we are right after this meeting, we'll be meeting with our public information team to begin to push out information. A lot of the Q&As that we still get, and no matter how many times we get on the radio or briefings, parents are still always going to want to know, or maybe starting to focus in now that we're getting close to the start of the school year. So there are a lot of questions that we're still getting regarding the schedules, in terms of how many days kids will actually be able to go online. We do still have online students asking the same thing for their online schedules. A lot of questions about the safety situation at the schools and how we are going to enforce and address the COVID-19 situation throughout the school year. So again, we've discussed many of these issues before, and we still do need to continue to push that information out to our public and to all parts of our community. So that'll be our focus over the next couple of weeks. I do want to emphasize that as part of going forward with the reopening of schools, we have not been, and I don't know how to say this in a positive or negative way, at the forefront of pushing for reopening no matter what the public health situation has been. We've been very very sensitive to the fears and anxieties out in the community. We have worked closely with public health, our partner agencies, and then of course paying attention to resources like the Centers for Disease Control with regard to guidance. So we are actually following a CDC guidance, and that's kind of that's the map that we have for implementing in school safety parameters and measures. The governor's most recent executive order authorized the opening of schools to be in line with CDC guidance, so that alignment is there. And we are just working out of some of the details with public health as they update their guidance memo. The updated guidance really talks about vaccinations being the top strategy for addressing the spread of COVID-19, and so that's something that once students come back, we're going to be pressing harder to make sure we get a good count and further expand the opportunities for vaccinations, working with public health. We've been trying to do this and work over the summer, but it's a little bit more difficult when the kids aren't in school and we don't have all the information you need from the parents. So we're looking forward to them coming back so we can do that. We do anticipate face masks will continue to be required in school, and we'd like to see that continue until such time as we make more progress on the vaccination front as well as the community health front. Ventilation, hand washing, respiratory etiquette, all of those the cleaning and disinfection that takes place in the schools, all of those items will be addressed and ramped up for this school year. And then again, continued public health collaboration in terms of ensuring that kids stay home and employees stay home when they're sick, but also get tested and implement contact tracing in the event that we have any cases that come to our attention within the school setting. So again, all these things are not new, but with regard to the updated guidance, these are the top strategies that have to be in place, and we want to implement all of them and as many of them as we can, knowing that one safety measure is not going to do it. We're going to need to layer these measures over each other so we have multiple ways to combat COVID-19 as we bring students back to school.
Any word on bus schedules or bus protocols yet?
We know that they are working on the final, trying to get that out before August 2nd, which I know is Father Duenas' first day of school. So they're working to put it out, publish the schedule before that time. I know that for most of the schools, we're maintaining our same schedules as we did during the last most recent school year, where kids are riding the buses to school. So we've tried not to make so many changes that we're going to have a difficult time keeping everybody on the same page. We're simply going to reopen schools, same schedule as last time, same routes. The real issue is making sure that the buses are aware of their public health requirements, and that they can move forward with the adequate number of buses and drivers needed to operate the bus routes in the morning and in the afternoons. So I was pleased to hear from DPW about the addition of, I think they said the addition of 27 buses that they were able to purchase as DODEA was making replacements to their fleet. So I think they were able to get 27 working buses added to the fleet. I know that they've been setting aside buses to support the quarantine operations at the airport, but my understanding is they're revisiting those plans. Obviously, as many buses as possible need to be provided to service our students. And I think in the future, there are more plans to continue to purchase additional buses beyond what those 27 ones that will be added this year. So that's good news. But again, I think we're just waiting for the final guidance to be issued by public health on schools and transportation. And I know there's a draft that we've been asked to review, so we're kind of looking at it, working with them, and then hopefully they'll be able to publish that within the next day or two.
And for anybody who's looking for a job, they are hiring bus drivers over at the Department of Public Works because they definitely need them, especially considering the fact that they bought all these used buses and are planning to buy brand new buses.
Yeah, and I think that obviously, our economy is critical and important, and we're, I know people are working to try to get the economy and the tourist industry back open again. But in the event that you are a bus driver, you have the necessary license to be able to operate a bus and you are out of work for now, I'm sure DPW would be interested in your services, to start the school year, and let's see how things develop beyond then. But I think it's critical not that we just get applicants, but for those who will have the necessary license to operate the buses. I mean, that's really sometimes a critical obstacle in terms of getting someone hired and ready to go on the buses.
What about teachers, counselors, school nurses? Are you guys have enough personnel?
Yes, we do. I think the teacher side, we're still, as we are every year, just working to try to fill the last remaining vacancies as we get closer to the school year. As far as counselors and nurses, we should be okay. That's with again, that's saying okay with regard to having many of them return for the school year. It doesn't mean that the challenge is going to be the same. I think we're really anticipating greater need and greater, I think a lot more monitoring and evaluation of students as they come back to school. So I think we do have the employees in place and at the schools that are needed for a regular school year, but we anticipate the needs of our students being greater. And so I know there's a lot of work between public health, behavioral health, CPS, and our employees to really ensure that the collaboration and partnership is there, so when we identify the need for referral for services, that those referrals can take place smoothly on behalf of the students who need those supports.
One of the things you mentioned on the show last week, and you also mentioned it during the Guam Education Board meeting, was giving stakeholders, parents, the opportunity to, I guess, I don't want to say meet and greet, but ask questions of GDOE leaders. And I know there's a virtual meeting this Saturday. Is that going to be the only opportunity, or are there more forums being scheduled?
Right, we're going to be working on that today to try to identify those dates and times. The one this weekend is actually for the online students, so that's just for those who are registered online. And I think like we said, we had about 15% of our population register online, and so the orientation will be virtual for those families. We do want to schedule some for next week. I think we've done the evening ones and they've worked pretty well for us. So we're just going to finalize and get that information out so that we can at least have a couple of sessions to answer questions and make sure that there aren't things that we've missed in terms of concerns and issues that need to be addressed. But again, we expect a lot of questions. I mean, not because the parents or employees haven't heard the information before, but a lot of just confirming. Since the beginning of the summer, has anything changed? We're still going in the same direction. So we want to make sure we have an opportunity to answer those questions and be aware of any new questions that might be coming up as we all try to gear ourselves up, for this coming year.
Mm-hmm. What about sports?
Sports is authorized under our current, public health guidance. So, so we are prepared for first quarter sports. So I know that girls volleyball has begun their practices. I know that football has begun their practice. I believe cross country is also, up this first quarter. So as far as sports and sports participation goes, we do have, of course, our own safety protocols within the schools, and they are allowed to, those contact sports are, like football, for instance, which we didn't have last year. It is authorized for us to proceed with under current public health guidance. The only parameters that still remain in place, and of course this was something that caused a lot of discussion last year, was really with regard to the spectators. How many parents can come in and watch their kids play? So we anticipate, that I think those spectator guidelines are still in place. I haven't seen any changes, so I'm sure we'll get a lot of feedback as well. Once we get further, if the governor declares P-Core 4 and things are going back to normal, then that'll be the next thing that we'll expect to address with regard to sports. So the athletes can compete. It's really the spectator rules that we have to reconfirm once competition starts.
Okay. Anything else?
Right on. No, I'm good. That was a lot.
Anything else, John, that you need to let the public know about?
Well, we over the next couple of days, in the midst of all the other preparations that we are making, just to get schools open, is we are having a meeting with all of our public school representatives, meaning our principals for the most part, as well. And then, of course, we're also doing the same with our private nonprofit school administrators regarding federal funds that are recently been approved and are ready to move forward. So that includes our consolidated grant, which is our annual funding that we do get to support schools, as well as the American Rescue Plan, which we have finalized and submitted as earlier this week. And so more information, maybe by next week we can have more discussion about that. Of course, I think I've said earlier, heavily tilted towards facility improvements, capital improvement projects. But we were able to finally put that plan to bed and get it to US DOE for their review. So tomorrow and Friday at the Sheraton, we are having in-person meetings with these representatives to go over the rules for the use of these funds and make sure everybody is aware of the federal accountability measures that go along with these investments.
John, did you?
We'll be putting out hopefully a press release by this afternoon, just to let the media know, because we'll be invited to come and see what's going on, and just to get that out to the community as well.
John, did you provide an update on the EBT cards and the $100 in school supplies?
So, well, I know the $100 in school supplies has been out there, and of course, when that goes out, everybody's calling up trying to figure out where to line up. So, I think first of all, for the parents, be aware that we are looking to resource, to provide these resources, but most of these resources, if not all of these resources, are flowing through your schools. So it really will be your schools that provide the updated information with regard to how the resources will be made available. But yes, we have identified with these funds the ability to support these supplies that would normally be borne by the teachers or the families to try to supplement the supplies at school. So we're glad to have these funds and be able to deploy them in this manner. But the specifics about how and when will have to come from your school once we get that organized. With regard to the EBT cards, we are meeting with Public Health soon to go over the final distribution plans for the distribution of the cards. So as you heard, all 28,000 students who were enrolled in GDOE during the last school year are eligible for the card. So the plan to distribute 28,000 cards within the requirements of the program, all of those things have to be worked out, and I think my focus is to make sure that we facilitate the distribution as easily as possible, so that families are able to get their card and to minimize the transportation, the bureaucratic layers and so forth if possible. So we're going to meet with the director of St. Augustine. I know they've got a couple of ideas, and then once we agree on that, really this is Public Health's plan to release. So that information will come from them at the appropriate time. We're still targeting at least August or September for that first round of distribution, but there might be some change in the details as we work to refine the plan. So hopefully we can get that information out within the next week.
Thank you, John. You good? All right. No further questions.
Thanks, John.
Have a good week. See you. Jon Fernandez does his weekly update. Really just want to thank him for that. He's been coming on since we were knee-deep in the pandemic. And still here. It's just crazy how time has flown. What do you say, 15 more days till the first day of school? Wow. We're going to take a
And of course, FD starts next Monday, right?
Yeah, Monday.
Yeah,
That's right.
we talked to Juan Flores the other day, Dr. Juan Flores, and
Yeah.
he said what FD starts on Monday, and the rest of the Catholic school community should be back fully by the 9th. I believe everybody's even the non-Catholic private schools.
Yes, it's 9:02. Hey, good morning, KUAM TV. This is the link brought to you by Pacific Points, IT&E, Calvo Enterprises, and Jack in the Box. Hear ye, Hear ye. Cortec International Corporation has an immediate job opportunity in Tamuning, Guam for the position of civil engineer. The position requires you to assess civil engineering construction requirements for projects, including site improvements, plan construction schedule, determine manpower levels and material quantities, and ensure proper equipment and trades are assigned as required. Inspect project sites and direct work by construction workforce and subcontractors in performing the civil works construction to ensure conformance to civil engineering